Hello and welcome, bienvenidos. My name is Jasmine and I am excited to have this conversation with you today in today's Principal Talk. The title of what we're going to discuss today is how to teach kindness. Now, intuitively, we all know that kindness is important. We know if you are watching the news or scrolling through social media just for a few minutes, we can see that the headlines truly indicate that we need more kindness around us in society today, around the world as well. And so the question that we have, though, and especially as a principal and a lead learner, is how do we engender kindness? How do we teach and promote kindness? And there's many different ways I guess we can describe kindness. Oftentimes we make correlations with empathy and love and inclusion. For all intents and purposes, for our conversation today, as we explore how do we teach kindness, and again, I'm going to offer 3 ideas that have been on my mind lately as a lead learner, is that what kindness is and what kindness is not, right? And so kindness is more than just pleasantries, saying, please and thank you, and more than just being polite, right? And being respectful. Kindness is more than just smiling in someone's face, while obviously being pleasant in that way can brighten someone's day. It's not the end all be all, right? Kindness is also more than volunteerism and community service and mission service projects, right? It has obviously connections to those acts of service, but inherently we can understand that kindness is a movement. It's an ongoing movement that we've seen through the beginning of time. And kindness is also a way of being. I like how Dr. King describes this idea of kindness in his book and compilation of sermons entitled The Strength to Love. And so in the sermon that he wrote on being a good neighbor, he describes these radical ideas related to kindness, in my interpretation, of being universal altruistic, right? Of having dangerous altruism and also excessive altruism as we think about who exactly is our neighbor. And so making this connection to kindness and preparing to share 3 ideas of how we can teach kindness as educators, as parents, in the workplace and at home. Dr. King on page 23 says, "More than ever before, my friends, men of all races and nations are today challenged to be neighborly. The call for a worldwide good neighbor policy is more than an ephemeral shibboleth." I had to look up what shibboleth meant, y'all. It's a word of Hebraic origin, and it means custom or principle and belief shared by a common group of people. It is the call to a way of life which will transform our imminent cosmic elegy into a psalm of creative fulfillment. No longer can we afford the luxury of passing by on the other side. And so again, as we look around us and see all that is happening in the world, we as adults, whether an educator, whether a parent, whether a community member, a partner, we have a responsibility to teach our young people, to teach the next generation, what does it mean to be kind? And again, we can't think that this is going to happen through osmosis or by happenstance. There need to be some intentional ways by which we are helping our young people to understand these ideas of being kind, right? So again, we understand that kindness is important, but let me go a little bit deeper. And as I did a little bit of research, that there are also several benefits to being kind. So this is more than just fluff, y'all, okay? Being kind increases your sense of self-esteem and your connectivity towards others, and it decreases your sense of loneliness. When we think about what young people are experiencing today, peer pressure, bullying, so many different messages and ideas being thrown their way, we definitely want our young people to have these benefits, right? Of being secure and confident. Kindness can help with all of that. So it behooves us to spend some time thinking about how do we teach our young people to be kind. Also, physiologically and neurologically, right? There are benefits to kindness. It improves our mood, right? Decreasing our blood pressure and the stress hormone known as cortisol, right? Which we know is just a part of living, right? Life is going to life. So there are going to be stressors that our young people experience that we experience as adults. But this idea of giving to others also, helps to return, those favorable experiences and outcomes and moods and feelings towards ourselves is important. Kindness also boosts our levels of serotonin and dopamine, right? And it also can increase our endorphins. So within our body, right? Within the bloodstream, within our nervous system, there are several benefits as relates to why we should pay attention to teaching kindness. And again, it's not going to happen through happenstance. So I have, again, 3 ideas around teaching kindness and why it's important. But before I go there, actually, let me share one example. So we've talked again already about why it's important to teach kindness. We've talked a little bit about a shared definition, and we also looked a little bit at how Dr. King explained this idea of kindness through the lens of altruism and of being a good neighbor. And I want to give an example from our school. Really, I'm always inspired by our young people. Again, when I say I'm a lead learner, y'all, I really have a front row seat to the brilliance and beauty of our young people. And shout out to our 5th grade teacher team, because every year we at our school focus on, for the month of January, celebrating Dr. King through the acts of service, right? Or the day of service. And we ask each homeroom class to think about a project that they want to participate in. And so the 5th grade teachers for this year, 2025, asked the 5th grade leaders, right? They've been with us for some time, and they identified that they wanted to create care packages for a local shelter for the unhoused in our community. And so they ran this agenda from beginning to end. They determined what items they wanted to collect, and parents and families and caregivers got on board and made donations of soap and deodorant. They hand wrote messages to the recipients of their care packages and collected other items as well. And they were so excited. I share this as an example of the level by which, our students and our young people get excited about serving and about helping others, and that they have big ideas. We as adults just have to take a moment to ask them, right? What solutions do you want to be a part of in society? What do you want to help, in what areas do you want to help make a difference? And so we got to give space for those ideas. And so we shared this wonderful project amongst some of the others that were facilitated by our classes. And it really just inspired us. It really just helped us to have the sense of hope for the future as we are raising our young people to not only think about themselves, but also to think about others. The other example is that right now we're collecting spare change. We call it our Be the Change fundraiser every year for a project or a nonprofit organization. And this year we are choosing to make a donation to the Red Cross to support with some of the wildfire relief in California. And it's been so inspiring to see our young people say, I'm bringing in, $5 or $1 or 15 cents or whatever it is, because they understand that there's some individuals who right now are displaced. And when speaking with one of our 3rd graders, for example, she told me, I want to make a donation because I care that there's some kids who don't have a home, and everyone deserves to have a home, right? So this level of kindness, right, that we are helping to promote and to spread is something that we really need to prioritize in our schools and in our homes. And so here are 3 ideas, again, that can help both you and me as we promote kindness in this movement in society. The first idea of how we can teach kindness is to model kindness, right? And I want to make sure that we're understanding to this idea that we have to teach being kind to ourselves, right? There are so many times that we are going to make mistakes. We're going to fumble the ball. We are going to get things wrong. And our students in schools, they are learning these lessons, right? I should have actually, studied for that math test, or man, I should have turned in more of my homework. I would have gotten a better grade. And as we are adults, we understand these ideas as well. But it's important to learn and to teach our children how to give themselves grace. So again, when we're thinking about teaching kindness, and the first idea, again, I'm sharing with everyone is around modeling kindness, we need to facilitate think alouds of how we as adults are being kind and gracious to ourselves. We're not, beating ourselves up when we make mistakes or when we get something wrong. Sometimes when I'm working with students or seeing students, they can be really, really hard on themselves. And so we have to remind them to, hey, we're going to try again next time, or with affirmations, I believe that you got this, right? But it's not necessarily this level of perfection, right? Because we know there really is no such thing as being perfect, but it is this idea that we can be our best friend or we can be our worst enemy. And so we want to teach our young people that kindness really does start from a place of being centered and being whole and being authentic. And then from that place of kindness to ourselves, right? I love myself. I love who I am, who I'm designed to be. And again, not with the spirit of perfection, but of this idea that I have something to contribute because I am in a process and a journey of self-exploration and all of its beauty. Then from that place of fullness, right, I can therefore help and be of service to others. So again, when we think about modeling kindness, we as adults have a responsibility to model how do you show yourself grace when you're going to inevitably make mistakes. Also, still talking about modeling kindness, we can utilize think alouds, right? When you see a situation that could necessitate an act of kindness or a gesture or a thought, oh, I see this individual here who's passing through a difficult time. I see an unhoused individual, or I see, or I saw something on the news. Do you pause and talk about that with your child or with your students and say, wow, we should maybe spend a moment sending some positive energy or whispering a prayer for, those individuals right now who are having a difficult time. Again, we are setting the model. This says that kids learn more from what we do and how we are, as opposed to not just what we say. And so we gotta walk the walk and talk the talk in modeling and showing kindness. The second idea I have around teaching kindness is to be intentional and to schedule kindness. Like I said, every year at our school, during the month of January, that's the automatic reminder that, Dr. King's birthday, and we know that we honor his life and his legacy through service. And that's a national observation we all know. But at our school, even at the elementary level, as young as 3 years old, our kids can understand this idea. And so you want to ask yourself, what are the variables, right, that can help you schedule or program some kindness initiatives in your school, right? We schedule everything else, right? We schedule at home what time is dinner, what time is bedtime, or at least we try to, right? In our schools, what time is our math instructional block, what time is the, basketball game, all these types of things we schedule. Why don't we also schedule being kind and teaching kindness? So let's answer those questions, the who, what, when, where, why, and the how, right? And starting with the why, we're already clear on that. We know that we need more kindness in the world. So with that now in mind, let's be explicit, let's be intentional about how we're going to teach our young people kindness. If you're a parent at home, maybe there's a way that you can embed a service project into, your family calendar, right? For educators, in a lot of our classrooms, we have morning meeting or we have advisory blocks in high school. How can you integrate kindness and initiatives that are really going to build that idea and that sense of community? And that's the strengths of this powerful movement around kindness. I think, it's important to remember that this is just not going to happen by accident. And so it does mean really I'm serious, look at your calendar, right? Look at your daily agenda. What are we doing to empower our young people with kindness? And last but not least, we have to celebrate kindness, right? We celebrate what we value. We love our sports teams, we love our musicians and our bands, right? And we celebrate them. We say that we are fans of, this basketball team and this football team and this baseball team. We, represent our cities and our towns with a lot of joy, and don't come for them, right? So we have to remember that we can do the same thing with these ideas and these lessons that we're trying to teach the next generation. Oh, we're about kindness at our school, right? Oh, we're about kindness at our home or in our organization, in our business. It is ingrained in who we are, and it's a value that we deem to be very important, and we prioritize kindness. And we want to make sure that when we see kindness, it's something that we're calling out. Like I said, the 5th grade class example, when we shared that as a staff, again, we were so inspired, we were so hopeful, and it helps to reciprocate kindness, right? And also to replicate kindness in our communities and in our society, right? Kindness spreads. Kindness spreads, right? Let's not spread germs. Let's not spread, other sense of negativity, if you will, right? But let's instead spread these big and beautiful ideas that are going to really recognize and uplift and elevate the spirit of humanity and goodness in our society. And kindness is one of the ways that we can do that, by teaching kindness. So again, 3 ideas that I just wanted to share as I am learning, I am growing, I'm studying this idea as well, is to, 1, we can teach kindness through 1, modeling kindness to ourselves, being intentional and explicit about how we use our words and how we are processing what we see around us and how we are responding. 2, we must schedule kindness. And necessarily, yes, I'm talking about looking at your daily schedule, your calendar. I'm talking about being very strategic in terms of how we are going to make this a priority in terms of our practice, our routines, our procedures, and things of that nature. And 3rd, we teach kindness by celebrating kindness, right? Recognizing it, affirming it. Wow, you student just walked this younger student to class, and that was so kind. Wow, I saw how, you came over and gave your classmate a high five when they got the right answer, right? Learning to affirm others for their success, right? And to extend a helping hand when it is needed. And I really do believe that we're going to reap what we sow, right? And so if we want to see in the next generation that our students, our young people, children and teenagers of all ages, learners of all ages, that's you and me. If we want to make a difference, right, we have to be the difference. We have to be those agents of change. And so teaching kindness at the start of the year and every day is something that will never, ever go out of style. And so I challenge us all to think a little bit more deeply about this idea of kindness. Again, it's more than just pleasantries and being respectful and smiling like everything's okay. There's a level of authenticity as well. And I didn't talk about it here, but it is another idea that, kindness also is honest, right? And so it is kind to give someone constructive feedback, to take a sincere interest in them in a way that, really would help them, right? And so, basically like, tell me I got broccoli in my teeth kind of thing. So again, so many ideas, but again, I hope that fundamentally from our conversation today, thank you for listening, or thank you for watching, that we are understanding that there are benefits to kindness, and we know that we need more kindness in our world today, our little and local worlds and the world at large, globally and internationally. And so it's not going to happen by an accident. We have to be intentional with teaching kindness. I hope these 3 ideas are helpful, and I hope that we'll all continue to grow and learn together in life's classroom. Until next time, adios.